I'm shaved my
beard.
mustache and I got my beard in a
beard is looking great. Look at that. Oh my God, sexy.
What kind of beard oil do you guys use? Because I figured I'd need something.
You should just get like a little bit of spit and just do this. That's all you really need. Okay, let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, to the No Business Soccer Podcast. So today we have some news and notes, and we are 3 down, 1 to go. Today we have the Premier League 2024 and 2025 stat leaders and awards. All this and more on this episode. What are we on? 75? Episode 75 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. News, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Yes, welcome back.
Something about that music, man.
There's not much to say. Hype Man Vic said it all. So I'm just going to introduce the team. We got the full team here, actually. We got the full fam. Of course, that means Brainiacs in the back. We have Danny P on the 1s and 2s, and everybody is waiting to know what my boy Hype Man Vic is sipping on.
Well, today I got another variation of the Wild Turkey 101. This is the 8-year that just came out this year. This has been available in like airports and stuff like that, but it just came to the American market. And it's your classic 101, just with a little bit more age. The classic 101 is like anywhere from like 5 to 6, 7 years, and this one's 8 years. And yeah, it's still really good. It's just maybe a little bit more oaky. It's all kind of like the same now, honestly, but we're still drinking and we're still liking the video. We're still subscribing to the No Business Soccer Podcast, and I'm still cheersing you guys as we do it. Let's do the tap, and whenever you click subscribe at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Clink.
That one didn't clink as much. These don't clink as much, but
I'll find a plastic glass. There's a plastic glass.
I swear it's glass. But everyone, yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. It's the best way to kind of tell everybody else out there in the world that, hey, maybe we're kind of cool and you'd want to listen as well. Appreciate it.
Well, I think that I don't know if I'd try Wild Turkey because all the other ones pretty exotic. I've gotten drunk on Wild Turkey before. Everybody has. I don't understand why that's that like good. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
It's classic.
Okay. Well, it's pretty much a dead period in the European football season. And the first window has closed. Second one, I think, is just about open. Maybe it's open for a day or so. And not a lot in news and notes, but we're going to go ahead and jump into a couple of tournaments that are going on. Maybe you heard about them. We will first talk about the Gold Cup because the U.S. men's national team won as we were coming on live. And that was awesome. Was that the quarter? No, that was the semifinals against Guatemala. And Poch seems like he's knows to how to get a team together, and he's using a bunch of people that aren't the main team. And as Danny P said, Pulisic's going to have to fight for his place now because he thinks that Luna's taking over. What do you think, Vic?
I think Luna, he's been looking pretty good, and it just sucks because sometimes he does have those off games. I think the last game they had was kind of off, and he just doesn't seem to click. But when he's on, dude, he looks freaking amazing, really good. And today he looked freaking amazing. Or if you're watching this yesterday, he looked freaking amazing against Guatemala with his 2 goals. It was spectacular stuff. Spectacular.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The shootout was obviously pretty nerve-wracking. But, it was never in doubt, right? It was never in doubt. And then, of course, you get this win. So the final, I believe, is Sunday. Is it not Sunday? We'll find out who's going to win or who's going to win. We don't know who won after Sunday. But we'll find out who they're playing. And, hopefully we'll have an update for you by the next show.
Yes, sir. I think, Mexico and Honduras play tonight. I think that's who it is. So they'll find out who else is going to be in the final. See,
oh man, that's a good clash of foods too. Of course, Mexican food, we know it, but some comida hondureña. Oh man, woo, some good stuff there.
That's not what we eat whenever we go to the Austin FC games, right? What are the baleadas, whatever?
Baleadas. I always get it mixed up because I don't know if it's Honduran or maybe it's Guatemalan. I'm not sure, but they're really good. If it is Honduras, then yeah. But
shout out, talking about food, and I'm like,
I know. No, shout out my boy Maynard. He got the the Honduras food. He got me into it. So anyway, and that's we got the update. Baleadas are Honduran. So there you go. There you go.
I'm just being told, everyone. Baleadas.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all can't hear him, but Brainiac, John Famson in our ear.
It's not even breaking news. It's like everybody knew that. Yeah, we're they're yelling at us through the screen. So anyway, Clash of the Foods gonna be fun. And okay, now let's move on to the next competition that's happening. And we've got a lot going on this summer. It's kind of made June go by really fast, and we're already in July, so crazy. But it is the FIFA Club World Cup, and this has been actually it has been exceeding my expectations. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the haters, were more or less talking about how empty some of the stadiums were at the beginning in the group stage and blah, blah, blah. But now that we're getting down to the nitty gritty and even seeing all these Brazilian teams tear it up, it has just been so fun to watch. Now, of course, I've read online, people are talking about how the European teams are kind of sleepwalking through it, and some of the South American teams are a little bit more feisty, a little bit more spicy than they are. But hey, that's not the South American team's fault. That they're just playing the game that's right in front of them. And yeah, it's made for some great matches. Vic, have you got a chance to watch too much of it? Or
not a lot. No, unfortunately, I'm one of those that haven't watched a bunch of.
Oh, you've been a hater. You haven't been a hater though.
Not a hater, but
okay.
Yeah, when it's on, I talked about them. I watched a few highlights. Our Italian friend went to go watch Real and Juventus in Miami just the other day too. So
like you went to the match.
Yeah, he went to that.
Cool.
It was weird. It came out of nowhere because like we were talking about it this whole tournament so far, and I was like, yeah, you're not gonna go watch them. Like if Liverpool was here, I'm going no matter where they're at. Like any day, like I would be going. And he's like, yeah, we don't know. And then all of a sudden, like a couple of days before, like, yeah, we're gonna go over there, and I'll be in Miami for a week. And I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah, of course you are, man.
Yeah,
so. That's awesome. And it's like it's a legit competition with legit money on the line. So these teams are playing. They're playing. I don't want to say they're playing everyone, all the stars, because I've seen a couple of B teams out there for the European side. Just the European side, because obviously that's our podcast. But in general, been a lot of fun. And you can't talk about the Club World Cup without going into more detail about all these Brazilian sides. We have Botafogo, we have Fluminense. I think that's how you pronounce it. Who else? We have Palmeiras. I'm destroying all these names. I think there's one more, and I'm missing it right now. I'm positive there's another one that I'm missing. Anyway, the point is, they are tearing it up. They're causing a lot of problems for these teams, and I think who's the last one in there? It's Fluminense is the last one, and actually, I have they just beat Inter, right? And so I have a buddy of mine who I was walking by at work, and he's like, "Hey, you see my team? They're in the the quarterfinals." And I was just like, "Man, that is crazy." I'm surrounded by Brazilians who like these teams. I have friends that are fans of all these teams. Flamengo is the other team. Flamengo. Did someone type that in there? I heard a little beep.
No. Just saying Palmeiras and Fluminense are still in the tournament. I'm trying not to say these because I work with a lot of Brazilians too, and I'm sure they're pissed off if they happen to be listening that I'm saying them.
I know that if there's a lot of letters at the end of a word, it just like you just go like that because it's like Fluminense, Bruno Fernandes, screw all the rest of the letters in this name. We're just gonna collapse it and go anyway. But it's been a great tournament, a lot of fun, and it's been cool to see. It's hard to say that it's the preseason because these guys never got an off season. But it is cool to see like Xabi Alonso taking over for Real, seeing how that team's playing along. They have I'm forgetting his name. Is it Garza? I can't remember the guy's name, but he's like a young 22-year-old breaking out for them. And I read a whole article, and I can't remember his name, but it was a whole article about how Xabi Alonso was at the under 22 or under 22s or 19, something like that, and he was coaching this kid. And then, of course, he goes to Leverkusen, and he's came back, and now he's starting for him and starring and breaking out in the Club World Cup, which is a really cool thing to see. But it's all of these games have been really fun. It's weird. We talked about it on our chat a little bit, how the Argentinian teams, River and Boca, kind of like crashed out, which I was expecting them a lot more from those teams. But we watched a video where dudes were just hating on these teams. I'm not going to do that. I'm just surprised. If we had a list of surprising teams in the Club World Cup, they would be the most disappointing teams, I guess I would say. But other than that, this has been a lot of fun. All of of course, there's the teams that are from Africa, Asia, different continents, not just the South American and the European teams. But I feel like those are the teams that are kind of making the biggest waves right now. Let's pull up I'm curious to see, because I know I missed a couple of games today. Let's see, Club World Cup, and then we'll move on. Let's see, matches. Okay, let's do this. So we have Fluminense versus Al Hilal, PSG versus Bayern, which Dortmund won today. Okay, I missed that one. So Real Madrid, Dortmund, and Palmeiras and Chelsea. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 European teams, 2 Brazilian teams, and Al Hilal. So there you go. Those are our quarterfinals, and that's all. Friday, Saturday. So gonna be some fun times there. Okay.
Yeah, I saw so many memes on how everybody's like, yeah, Saudi Arabia is like just killing soccer right now, but then they beat Man City, and everybody's like, yeah, I love Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, right.
I was one of them. One of them. Like, yes,
they got knocked out. But yeah, this to Danny P's point from. Well, actually, it was not earlier. You guys would have not known that until I said it right now. But he was texting us earlier, and he was like, hey, 2 Champions League rematches in the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup, which, hell yeah, I'm all for it. That's going to be awesome to see. Okay. Y'all didn't come here to talk about that. Maybe you did, actually, because that's all that's on right now. We're here to talk about the 2024-25 recap of the Prem. So I think we should jump right into it, Vic. Let's do goals for. That is the main... Oh, wait. We have our graphic. Let's do it. To England.
Trigger happy over there, huh? I can't even say the Prem anymore.
I was laughing the whole time that was on. Hey, but it's fine. We didn't practice that. I just was like, oh wait, we have a graphic. Let's do it.
We've also done it in the other 3, so it's not like we didn't know it was coming. Yeah.
Hey,
sorry.
Hey, my boy wanted to say it. Okay.
I'm about to talk all through this about Liverpool stuff, so it's okay.
That is
right.
very true. We were talking off air that this whole Prem award ceremony here, excuse me, is like, hey, let's talk about how good Liverpool are right now. I'm sure someone's gonna like that. But let's jump into it. So goals for. We're gonna do the top 3 goals for, and I don't think that a lot of people will be surprised here. Third was Arsenal with 69. Second, Manchester City with 72. And of course, Liverpool, your top goal scorers with 86. All right. Now let's go to goals against. Third, Chelsea with 43. Liverpool, 41 at second. And the best defensive team in the Prem last season was Arsenal with 34, which I know we talked about it, and it was being talked about a lot in the press, how Arsenal were good defensively. I didn't realize that they were that by far the best defensive team as far as goals against. Crazy. Yeah. I just don't picture them as that team, but they don't win trophies either, so whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, be quiet, Siri. Okay. Next one. This is the main one that everybody likes to talk about, the Golden Boot, and it was not even close. Third, Erling Haaland with 22. I think he's won like every time he's been, every year he's been with City, he's won it. And he didn't, because there's 2 people that are above him now. The second, Alexander Isak with 23, just edging out Erling Haaland. And Isak, we talked about it all season, how good he was with Newcastle. But of course, your number 1 goal scorer, like all these other categories, Mohamed Salah with 18. With 29. I read the wrong one. 29 goals. Hey, that was a little
spoiler.
Hint, spoiler alert for him winning another award, or I guess a stat leader. Mohamed Salah with 29 goals. That is crazy. 6 more than Alexander Isak in second place.
And then you already
heard me. Yeah, you already heard me talk about it. So assist leaders, we had Anthony Elanga with Nottingham Forest with 11, and Jacob Murphy, Newcastle, 12, and 6 more than him, Mohamed Salah with 18 assists. There you go, Vic. Your boy was just outstanding, as was the team, apparently. Just won everything. I'm not even saying. There's no point in saying. All right. So before we jump into the awards, though, I don't know why I decided to look into this for these recaps, but I think it's just kind of interesting to see. We had 6 manager changes in season in the Prem, and that was Manchester United, Leicester, Wolves, Southampton, West Ham, and Everton, all ending the season with the manager that didn't start the season. So pretty interesting. The 6 was actually one of the lowest, though, if you believe it or not. I mean, you did. If you saw the rest of the episodes, you know that 6 is probably, I think it's tied with the Bundesliga, maybe La Liga, for the lowest amount of sacked managers in season, which I guess when we're in the heat of the battle in the season, doing recaps and the shows, it just kind of doesn't click. Like you start to realize after a while, yeah, there's a few coaches that have been out of here, but 6 in season seems pretty crazy. Okay, let's jump into it, Vic.
Let's do it then. It is time, yes, to go to our very first award for the 2024-2025 Premier League season. And this award is going to go to the most surprising team of the season. And that is, drumroll please, I don't know if we have one on sound. Nottingham Forest. I mean, how can you even deny this team from being the most surprising team this year? They have been a hell of a story all year, and Snooze is going to go into why else they are our most surprising team of the Premier League season.
Yeah, we talked about how they were just by far the most surprising team coming from where they came from last season. I have a couple of notes here that we want to just take a little nibble at, show you and tell you exactly why they were surprising in case you forgot, because I think at this point we're like a month outside of the season. Man, it's crazy to talk about. But either way, Forest, they've only been promoted in the Prem for 3 years. So I mean, they've had it previously, but I'm saying in this current run, it was 3 years ago that they were promoted in the 22-23 season, and they finished 16th that season. And then they finished 17th the next season and just about stayed up. And then the third season, which was this past season, they finished in 7th. They go off and they get back into Europe for the first time in 30 years. Definitely not the track. You don't see that often. 16th, 17th, 7th. Spurs will definitely be hoping that we can that. But the rise up the table was kind of spearheaded by 3 main men. And I talked about him a lot this season. I even had a little short I did on Chris Wood, or a post, I guess I should say. Chris Wood, who scored 20 Premier League goals this season. Morgan Gibbs-White, who scored 7 goals and had 8 assists. And then Anthony Elanga, who scored 6 goals of his own, 6 goals. But the dude had 11 assists, as we just talked about. He was the 3rd highest in the Prem. These 3 guys were on a Nottingham Forest team who barely stayed up in the Prem last season. And that's why they're so far ahead. And I don't want to say the only reason, but 3 of the main factors here. The fact they finished 7th and get a Conference League football, they get into the Conference League and they have Conference League in European football next season. For most Forest fans to be disappointed, that tells you all about how their season went, Vic. Because up until match day 33, only 5 matches left in the entire season, they were in 3rd. And I mean, I don't want to say they were a lock because obviously they weren't, but it felt pretty, we felt pretty sure that they would be able to get it over the line and get top 4 and get into that Champions League. And they were unable to do so. There's a lot of craziness going on. Coach going on to the field arguing with Nuno. Apparently, it wasn't a big deal when it didn't look like that to me. But they just ran out of steam. And they only won once in their last 5 matches, and they finished 7th, obviously. But it was a very tight race. We saw how it just flipped and flopped. I mean, the only thing that wasn't tight was, of course, the top of the table, right? That was locked up probably, November, would you say, Vic? Something like that?
Yeah,
wasn't even
so long ago, so long ago.
But either way, I think most people would say that by the end of the season, where they ended up, that's fine. They didn't need to get Champions League because we've seen it all the time. I think the real question going into next season for our most surprising team is, where do they go from here? Is what we saw last year from Nuno's men the norm? Is that what they should be fighting for? Is that what we should expect from them? Or are they going to be the team like they were the season prior, just fighting to stay up in the Prem? With European football on the docket, more on the schedule, how do they balance out the squad? How do they do with all of the extra fixtures? All of these questions are up in the air, but either way, I'm excited to see our surprising team from this season going into next season. That is Nottingham Forest. Congratulations, Nottingham Forest.
Yes. Congrats are in orders for Nottingham Forest, one of the most talked about teams this past season. I think the only team that was talked about more are the next ones we're going to talk about, because we're going to go to the exact opposite of what the most surprising team, the most disappointing team of the 2024-2025 Premier League season. And not even one of these teams could win that, because we have a tie. We have a tie. The most disappointing teams that we have for the 2024-2025 season are, drum roll please, your Tottenham Spurs and Manchester United. Snooze, I gotta hear you talk about these teams and how they disappointed us this year.
Listen, if I came onto this show and I put Manchester United as the most disappointing team, and then we see Spurs in 17th, I know y'all would have just clowned me. I'd have been like, "Oh, really?" So this is me being a professional here. Okay, I know that this team. Let's stick to the notes. Okay, I will tell you why I picked this team. Because look, there's two teams here, and honestly, I wanted to add a third. I wanted to add West Ham into that mix because they were dreadful as well. But they are a team that, maybe they are okay with being down there because they don't have the expectation that Spurs and United have on them. But Spurs' 38 points were the lowest points total that they have ever had in a Premier League season, and 17th was their worst finish in the Premier League ever. And the same it can be said for Manchester United. Their 42 points and their 15th place finish are the worst in the Premier League era. Now, people will come back and say, oh, they relegations, blah, blah, back in the day. I'm talking about strictly since, was it 92, 93, when the Prem started. This is the worst for both of these teams. Now, we talked about it enough during the season, so I won't go into too much detail about it. But just know both teams were dreadful. Both teams weren't really fighting for much by the end of the season, except for one thing, and that was the Europa League championship trophy, a European trophy for either of these teams. The two not worst teams, but the worst of the teams that were staying in the Prem were going after that trophy. And the fact that Spurs won it does give them a leg up. But we're not talking about how the season ended in Europe. We're talking about how they ended in the 24-25 season. And if we look at it in, let's say, 5 or 6 years, and we just see the stats and we see where these teams were, we're not going to remember the runs in Europe. Maybe as a Spurs fan, you will, but the mutual will not. They'll see, okay, so they were just really shitty. And yeah, it was not a good season for either of these teams. And so it's hard to say that one was worse than the other. I obviously, being a Spurs guy myself, would say that Spurs had a better season because we did get that trophy after so long, and finishing 17th and going out the door pretty much said, yeah, I knew we weren't going to get in top 4. So what was the point? Which he has a point there, but still 17th is pretty freaking embarrassing. And United shouldn't be anywhere near that. They are one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world. Maybe Barcelona and Real Madrid are bigger, but overall, United, everybody's wearing. I mean, you walk around any country, you'll see people wearing United jerseys, kits. Excuse me. Yeah, they can't be anywhere. You can't be that low, and that's why both of these teams, like Vic said, made me laugh. They couldn't even do this right. They both tie for the most disappointing team in the Prem last season. We can't clap them. Boo.
Yeah, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Cheers are in order for Tottenham and Manchester United. What a weird season for Tottenham. The worst they've ever finished. Still a Champions League spot. And the only reason they weren't relegated is because they know they weren't that bad. Like, we already had a lock. Like, we had a lock for the top of the table. We had locks for the bottom of the table, too. So, weird season, but hey.
Pretty much the same thing, yeah. Like, there's nothing to play for. We know we're not going to get relegated, and y'all were like, "There's nothing to play for. We already won the league." Same thing, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, we did the same thing this year. So
yeah.
But I guess jeers are in order for Tottenham and Manchester United, and we'll see how they do next year in the Prem. Speaking of seeing how a team does next year in the Prem, we're gonna move over to the team we are looking forward to most next season. And I don't know if we do drum rolls for these. Let's just do our drum roll so our producers have to put it in. Drum roll. And the team we are looking forward to most next year is Crystal Palace. And Snooze, tell us what we have to look forward to next year.
So all of this I will preface because I was just listening to the Athletic podcast about the demise of Lyon, which is a Ligue 1 team, a Ligue 1 team that we don't cover, but you'll hear me out here in a second. They might be relegated. They have a bunch of book stuff that's wrong with the money, and so they might be relegated to Ligue 2. I don't know how to say
Do
it.
it.
Obviously, my French isn't good. But either way, that owner of that club also is a minority. It's minority stake, but he has 43% shares of Crystal Palace too. And so Crystal Palace, they might not be able to get into the Europa League that they rightfully earned the right to by winning the FA Cup because of all of the stuff going on with Lyon. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. If it does come out that there's all this crazy stuff going on, and just know that I'm prefacing it with this. Okay, now let's go into the notes here. Why I'm looking forward to them the most next season, and this one was tough because there was a lot of mid-table teams in the Prem that were doing great things. They progressed a lot this past season. Brighton, they got really close to getting into Europe in Fabian Hösler's first season. I like to do the umlaut, the Hösler's. His first season, right? And Brighton's never been there, so that would have been really freaking cool. Bournemouth, they're being stripped of all their players, but they're keeping Iriola. I always want to say Areola, but I know it's not that. I know it's not. Iriola, but they're keeping him. And so maybe Semenyo stays. Maybe they stay really good. We'll find out. But that's a team that's interesting. And then, of course, Brentford pretty much stripped for parts at this point. Spurs got their coach. Manchester United getting Mbemo, and, they're being left on cinder blocks. But all of that to say, these are all teams that are above Crystal Palace in the table. And a little bit further down, you have little Palace hanging out, the perennial mid-table finishers. They never seem to get more points than enough to get past 10th place, but they're never lower than 14th. So they're always just right there. They're not worried about getting relegated. They're also not worried about getting into Europe, really. But at the end of the season, looking at the table in this case, they finished 12th, but they won their first trophy in club history, which the FA Cup they won. And that means that they're getting into the group stage of a European competition in the Europa League for the first time in club history, from what I can see. They did technically play a Turkish team. I can't remember which one it was in the Intertoto Cup in the 90s, but I don't think that was like a group stage. So I just want to, I think I'm safe with saying that this is their first time being in a group stage of a European competition in their club history. Their coach, Oliver Glasner, he's heavily linked with a lot of big time moves, of big time clubs trying to get him because of all the success he's had over there in Palace. But I think if you think about how the season went and how he did as a coach and how he kind of led them towards the end of the season, towards that FA Cup run, I really think that they're going to be able to use this as a platform to get past that mid-table demon. Now we're going to be doing our previews of the 25-26 season coming up, and we'll talk about it, and I'll be able to do more research then. But just being off the hype of the 24-25 season, I'm really high on Palace right now. And so far, they're keeping the squad together. We'll see if everything ends up that way. But them keeping their coach, their manager, making sure that Glasner is with them, leading them next season is a big, big deal. And anyway, so you couple that with the Europa League matches that they've got going on into the next season. And I'm interested. I want to see how they do. I don't know ultimately if what happens to all the teams that are surprisingly making into the Europe for the past couple of seasons will happen to Palace. And you know what I mean, where they quickly kind of figure out that their squads aren't built for these. And then they kind of fall apart and go down the league table. We saw it with Bologna. Well, they ended up getting better towards the end of the season, but we saw it with not Girona. Was it? No. Oh, man, I'm blanking on the team that was in La Liga. But there was like 3 or 4 teams that just made it for the first time into Europe, and then they kind of struggled. And I think that could be a possibility for Palace. But, hey, I'm here for it. And Vic and I have met Rebecca Lowe at a fan event. You know who I'm talking about? The is it CBS or NBC? It's NBC, right? It's got to be NBC.
Yeah, it's NBC. Yeah.
Right. And because we got to meet her and shake her hand, that's our girl. And she is a huge Palace fan. So of course I want to see them tear it up for her too. So just throw that out there, dropping names. I mean, she wouldn't know our names, but
I think it was cool. I think this scarf is from, I don't remember if it was, but I don't know if that scarf was from there.
From that event?
Yeah, I think this was it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway. Sorry.
Anyway,
go ahead.
That's it. That's why I'm looking forward to this Crystal Palace team, and I want to see how they do next season. It feels like they're just like that the white bread, they're just there. There's no flavor to them. They kind of make the sandwich. They're part of the Prem, but they don't make it any better or worse. They're just there. And I feel like that could change going into next season.
Well, we will see, and it's going to be exciting to see, and that's closer than you think. I think Premier League starts August 15th. That's a month and 2 weeks away, so it's getting close. It's getting close, you guys, and I'm excited for it. So, but not only a
Got a
team we are.
raging boner for it.
Oh my
I don't
goodness!
know why I just yelled that. Yeah, sorry.
You were
Just bleep that out.
enthusiastic about that. Leave it in post. Anyway, we not only are we excited to see Crystal Palace, we do have our player we're player we're looking forward to most next season. I think I just had a stroke right there. I'm sorry. And I was happy to see this one because for me, this is who I was thinking of. But it's a little bit of cheating, and Snooze is going to go into that in just a second. But the player we're looking forward to most next season for the 2025-2026 Premier League season is, drum roll, please, Florian Wirtz of Liverpool. Snooze, I got it.
Weird to hear you say that.
Again.
Weird to hear you say that.
Yes, of Liverpool. Yes.
Golly. Yeah, there's probably going to be boo sounds because this one is cheating. All the rest of the leagues, I did a player who actually performed in that league great, but didn't have as much spotlight on them. And now I'm like taking a guy who's never stepped foot on a pitch in the Prem, and I'm saying he's my most looking forward to player next season. But it's for a lot of reasons. Let me explain myself here, because I mean, I just don't see how it could be any other player. Like when Erling Haaland came over from Bundesliga, that was the guy who we were watching. That was the main guy who everybody wanted to see how he did, and he tore it up. And what I will say is that this just doesn't happen all the time. Wirtz is supposed to go to Bayern. Like every other young, talented German player, you get paid a lot of money. You leave the club that's gonna push Bayern toward the edge, and they get the players, and then they just continue to dominate. But he threw up the deuces and said, I'm not going there. I am going all the way to, I was going to say jolly old England, but, that's whatever. Yeah, sure. And I'm really excited to see this pairing because from what we saw with Wirtz last season. So, hey, first off, Lil Uzi Wirtz, put some respect on that nickname, okay? But Lil Uzi Wirtz, we know he's a No Business podcast favorite. He's a legend of the podcast. And he's one of my personal favorites as well. Love watching him play. Leverkusen's tearing it up. But now he's going to a team that just dominated the league last year in Slot's first season. So this guy's first season comes over and they dominate. It wasn't even close. And then they bring in Florian Wirtz's boy Frimpong, and they bring in Kirkes. They bring in other people. And it's just like, it just seems like all these parts are going to fit perfectly. And he could hit the ground running just like we saw Haaland do coming over from Dortmund. Now it would be different. Obviously, he might not be a beast and get all the goals and everything like that. But, I mean, you know how Haaland works. He gets the ball in the box. 9 times out of 10, he's scoring versus a different type of player. But I still see him having a great season in the same ilk. Is that what you say? The same ilk? He's my favorite type of player because he might not be the guy who's going to be scoring in bunches, but he's the magician who creates chances out of nothing and who can just slide and slice through players like butter, like a hot knife through butter. You know what I'm talking about. But either way, he just creates chance after chance. And I think that Liverpool come up short against PSG in the Champions League, and then they add one of the best young talents in world football and more. I mean, they have like 4 or 5 players already in at this point. I just think that they might be coming for everything next season, and Florian Wirtz might be the guy who's kind of pulling the strings in that midfield to help them do that. And I'm excited for it. I can't lie. I'm going to be going to what's your little bar you go to?
BD Riley's.
There you go. I'm going to be going to BD Riley's for sure because I'm just excited to see him. And that's enough for me talking about Florian Wirtz because he is a Liverpool player. Now, Vic, tell me more about him, please.
Well, I will say that I did take the day off for August 15th, actually, against Bournemouth. That's the first Premier League game, and hopefully he's starting. Hopefully everything's fine. Nothing happens to him. He's starting.
Is that like a Thursday or something? Is that?
I think it's Friday.
Friday. Okay. I was wondering why you took a day off. Like, aren't they on the weekends?
But
the champion always plays. Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't know anything about it.
I'm excited to see him play. And I did bring up this stat a couple of times this year when we were talking about Florian Wirtz. And there have only been 2 players in the last 2 seasons of all the top 4, top 5 leagues in the world that have had 10 assists and 10 goals apiece. That's Mohamed Salah and Florian Wirtz. And now they're both going to be on the same team. And yeah, it's going to be absolutely insane. You might just see like them pass back and forth to get an assist. And I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be magical because I think we got beat by PSG and just took that personally and started just like signing players.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we've gotten better. And what's also crazy to think just in the back of my mind here, for some reason, Liverpool's still not out of the Alexander Isak talks. They're still in the Isak talks, which is pretty crazy. It don't happen, but if it does happen, be sure to like and subscribe. We're definitely going to go over that whenever it comes up. Whenever it comes up. Hey, right now, we're talking about Florian Wirtz.
Don't move off yet. You said something that I want to talk about for a second because it's been on my mind a couple of times. So, what happened this past season? PSG beats them in the Champions League. I remember if it was quarterfinal, whatever it was, but they beat them, knock them out. Hey, Liverpool pissed off. They go and get great players that can kind of stack up in their places of need, right? This is just what they do. It's not a surprise anymore because if you recall, whenever Liverpool lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League final, they were like, all right, we need a keeper and we need a center back and we need those now. And then the next season, they beat Spurs in the Champions League final. And who did they bring in? Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. And at the time, there was a lot of money for those players. And so it's just like, that's kind of what happened. So I'm just saying as of, July 2nd, if Liverpool are in the final next season, they're going to win it because this is what happened last time. And if it's against Spurs, first off, that'd be really cool. I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be really cool. It just pissed me off even more. So, okay. And it's going to piss me off that we have to talk about them again. God.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I agree with you. I think if we are there, we're going to win it as well. And that's also why, because we're still a good squad. Even though we got knocked out by PSG, it wasn't that bad. But like I knew, and now that I look back on it, I was reading some or not reading, but I was like listening to some videos about the Champions League and how Liverpool got knocked out. There were a lot of other correspondents saying, yeah, whoever wins this is going to win the Champions League because they are just two good teams. And that's probably why I came to that conclusion too, that PSG were just going to win. But we'll see. Florian Wirtz, the team gets better. On that, not only that, Frimpong on the defensive side, we have the Valashvili also coming in as a backup to another best backup keeper that we have in the world. It's good times to be a Red, and dude, I can't wait. You're gonna get a
we have more
little
Wirtz.
You're gonna get a little Wirtz, Liverpool.
No, I'll get a Leverkusen, and I'll wear that to BD Riley's.
Okay. I think we'll accept that. We'll probably accept that. That'll be okay.
Yeah, why not?
Good.
I'll get a TAA Real Madrid kid. Is that accepted or no?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, all right.
We'll throw you out. But anyway, Florian Wirtz is our player we're looking forward to most next season. I guess congratulations are in order for that because we got to talk about a Red. And we're not done.
Yeah, me talk. I know.
And we're not done because now it is time for the winner of the inaugural, an all-important golden banger that is presented to the No Business Soccer podcast player of the 2024-2025 Premier League season. And I wonder who this is going to be. We need a drum roll. Let's get the drum roll going. Who is it going to be this year? It is Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king. And Snooze, I've been waiting for you to talk about this. Not only because, Wirtz was on there, but then right after this, Mohamed Salah. Tell us a little bit about his season.
It's too much. It tells you how the season went for Liverpool, the fact that they're getting all these awards. But if I didn't give it to him, it wouldn't be genuine. I'd be making things up that didn't exist just for the point. But like there was other people in other leagues that, maybe they didn't talk about them a lot. In this league, Liverpool dominated it. It was pretty straightforward. So yes, Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king, the dude who looks like he's carved out of stone itself. He wins this award, the Golden Banga. Banga's a mash, Oh man, it's okay. Let's just jump into it. How about this? Because I want you to talk about it more. We're talking about the Golden Boot winner here. 29 Premier League goals. We just talked about assist leader, 18, winning in both of those categories. That'll probably do it. Both of those totals were 6 more than the second people in that category. We talked about that. Salah was the best player in the league this past season. It wasn't even close. I mean, it was like you watch any match and he's just taking the lead. He's the guy who is going to win the game, or at least start them winning or get them on the right foot all the time. 18 assists was by far the most assists he's ever had in a season. 29 goals, which surprisingly, you hear 29, you're like, yeah, it's probably the most he's ever had in a season too. Dude's going off. No, that's not true. Second most he's ever had. The first season he had with Liverpool back in 2017, 2018, he scored 32 goals in one season. So, yeah, he's probably disappointed he didn't score more. But look, we all know how amazing Salah is. You don't need me to tell you that. Coming into this past season, though, let's be honest, his goals and assists had declined for 3 straight seasons. He had, 3 straight seasons. He was getting a little older, and we had a bit of a falling out with Klopp towards the end of the previous season. I think most people assumed, and I mean, Liverpool execs assumed, you can't even deny it, because they didn't lock him up until the 12th hour. They didn't expect him to do what he did this past season. We all assumed he was going to decline. We just figured he would ride out this season. Liverpool would do what they do, whatever that may be, and then he'd go over to wherever, Al Hilal probably. And Father Time caught up to him. That happens to everybody. But that was by no means what happened. It was the complete opposite. He was still really good. And we thought that maybe if he was really good if he was really good, that's fine. But he's not going to be world class anymore. And that's just what he decided he would be. He just came out of nowhere and had this amazing season after declining for 3 seasons, and just said, screw it, I'm going to show you why you need me. They lock him up long term. He destroys the Prem, and now he's here. Slots first season in, title, plethora of enforcements. I mean, we don't need to talk about it for over and over and over. I just want Vic to go ahead and talk about how good Mohamed Salah was, because obviously we see it. We saw the highlights. We see some of the big games. We don't watch him day in and day out like a true Liverpudlian fan would be. And so, Vic, that's all I'm going to say about Mohamed Salah. I want to hear what you have to say.
I'm just going to say that, he did have an historic season. He had 47 goal contributions, tied with Alan Shearer, Andy Cole. Yeah, I've been trying to remember those names. Andy Cole with 47. They also played with 40 and 42 games in the season. Mohamed Salah did it in 38 games. So what a great way to first off have some sort of leverage for your contract talks at the end of the season,
right?
And then also just signing 2 more years. I don't know if Virgil van Dijk had anything to do with that, because they both signed for 2 more years, but they are the leaders of the team on the front end and the back end, and it's just going to be great to see them back again. But the only other thing I'll say about Mohamed Salah is that he's looked more in control. He's this past season as opposed to others. Could it be with Arne Slot? I have no idea, but just the fact that the way he's on the ball, his first touch on the ball, he's always going to cut left. I don't know how people have not caught on to that, but he's always going to cut left. Same way Gakpo always cuts right. And yeah, he's still just doing it with just absolute ease. And man, it looks good. I cannot wait to see him and little Uzi Verts next season. And man, it's going to be some good times. What do you think, Snooze? You think it's going to be some good times?
I think he won't hit the totals that he hit this season. I will go on record of saying that, but it's going to be fine because everybody else will be chipping in more. The team will be. I felt like last season it was kind of built around him at times. Like if he wasn't doing it, it took a long time for someone else to do it, and that usually came to be Luis Diaz or Gakpo at the beginning of the season. Gakpo, I felt like I was big on him for most of the season coming in, and then like he just didn't play as much. I don't know. That was kind of weird. Like,
well, he also had a good Euros. Was it Euros or?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. We were high on him coming in.
So, yeah,
I remember saying like he needs to play more. Like the guy's really good. Yeah. And then Mohamed was just like, I'm just gonna score everything, so don't worry about it. Just go sit on the bench for a while. But yeah. Anyway, I feel like if he doesn't hit his totals like he hit this season, who knows? Maybe they'll go crazy and they'll score more goals than ever. Blah blah blah. But I just feel like it's not going to be a team built around him anymore. And that's what Slot's kind of moving it to. Like, hey, you're going to be here for 2 more seasons, but let's build a squad. So that way, when you do leave, we have a machine that's well oiled already. And so, yeah, I think they'll still be great. Obviously, we just talked about him for an hour, but I don't think that he'll be at the goal totals, which is fine. That's my assessment.
I do think the same. I think I think he won't get as many goals, but he will get more assists. I think it's just going to be around the same. He'll probably. I'm Just guessing. I think probably going to be around 40 to 45 goal contributions next year as well. So I think.
You think? Okay.
I think
All
we'll
right.
see. We'll see.
We
But
will
anyway,
see.
congrats are in order for the Egyptian King Mohamed Salah for winning the inaugural Golden Banger from the No Business Soccer podcast. And of course, I'm not sure if he can actually eat that, being Mohamed Salah, a Muslim as he is, and everything. So we did make it out of pure edible gold, 24 karat gold. It was $350,000, but it is on the way. We did get insurance through FedEx, so don't worry about it. It'll be on the way there, and you can eat it if you want still, Mohamed Salah. So congratulations again.
We could have just done cake, but no, $350,000 solid gold.
That would have been easier and cheaper. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But I think that's it. Snooze, anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to bring
man. Up? Take us home. I'm
All
tired
right.
of talking about Liverpool.
Yeah. Well, again, be sure to like and subscribe. Again, we are just a month and 2 weeks out for the start of the Premier League season, which would be Liverpool and Bournemouth. And so we have a bunch of previews coming up. We're going to talk more about players and teams and go up and talk about the newly promoted teams for these leagues and give you a little bit more information in the No Business Soccer podcast way that you know and love. Again, like and subscribe. We will all talk to you very soon. Be on the lookout for those. And we love you. Peace.